Buenas tardes, el día de hoy estaremos elaborando una entrevista al señor Steve Michael, quien es el directivo de la organización de una casa productora y agencia de publicidad llamada Scroll Stoppers, ubicada en el estado de Washington, por lo cual esta entrevista se realizará en el idioma inglés. How are you, Steve? How's your day?
I'm doing good. How's yours?
Pretty fine, thanks for asking. Okay, this interview is conducted with the Terms in Education by the Autonomous University of Nuevo León from the Faculty of Communication Sciences. The objective of this interview is to observe, first of all, the actions that are carried out to achieve a link between an organization and the public to which is directed, or how communication is the fundamental basis of each and every one of these relationships. It is expected to get to know a few strategies from the perspective of a leader to achieve it successfully. So, can we start?
We can start.
Nice. First question. What does your company do?
Well, ultimately, we get more clients for our clients, more customers in the door. That's the quick answer. Do you
Nice.
need more?
Yeah, I think I maybe heard that your company do some like commercials to publicity.
All right. So yeah, we from beginning to end, we kind of develop an overall strategy for local businesses to get more customers in the door. What that usually means for us and what our best avenue is YouTube videos. But we also do Facebook, Instagram, Google AdWords.
The second question is, how did this project come about or start?
Actually, from a job that I had. So I had a job basically doing the same thing. And it worked really well for that company. When I got there, we had one location, and when I left, we had 9, and we're opening a new location pretty much every month. So I left that company, and then they said, "Well, why shouldn't I do it on my own?" And
Wow.
since then, we several other clients, and it's worked.
So, did you start alone?
Yes.
Wow, that's very interesting. With which company have you worked or collaborated?
Lots. The main one right now for us is a company called All Set Auto. And same story with them. I started when they had one location, and now in September they're opening up their 5th and 6th location, and more in the books. And we are not only advertising for them as a business to get customers in the door, but we're also advertising the franchise in order to get more people to open more locations.
Yeah, about the strategy. What strategy do you use to communicate what the customer wants?
What do you mean?
Yeah, how do you use, or how do you think, or how do you do what communicate with the customer to bring their idea to a video?
Most of the time, really, I think that what we do as a company isn't like, we're not the only ones doing it, but it's not as widely known as other avenues, maybe like radio or TV or even Facebook, which everybody kind of thinks of. Usually, in my first interaction with a potential client, when I mention YouTube, they kind of like, you know. But one of the reasons why I love YouTube is that the barrier to entry is higher, meaning that anyone can just go put a picture and run a Facebook ad. For
Yeah.
YouTube, you have to make a video.
In your organization or your company, how do you communicate the projects that are ahead or that are coming?
Most of the time, the first thing you're going to learn is like the strategies and like the intentionality behind our videos, which I don't necessarily go into right now. But the everyone needs to understand like what the game plan is, and it's always the same. It's just different, more creative ways to tell the same message in the same structure. That's always worked for us, and so they need to know that. Once they know that, then I mean, it's pretty much a matter of, and it varies because some clients want to have like they want to write the ads. Like they want to have all control. And some
So, how do you think that technology impacts your company to achieve a successful communication strategy?
technology is everything. I probably didn't like we use Google Drive. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
that was probably the real answer to the last question is Google Drive is everything. So from like internal communications to reporting to planning to everything happens in Google Drive. And again, without that, it'd be kind of tough. I mean, I'm sure there's other softwares and other platforms to do it on, but that's just how we do it.
Yeah, I also believe that technology is very fundamental in this type of organization. So, what advantage and disadvantage do you consider to be in your managerial role and to work independently?
The advantages is, well, I like working with people. I like to have a plan, and I like to see it come through. I like for when to strategize, and my strategy works. I also like working with people, and I like to motivate people. I like to reward people. I like to have a nice, positive, upbeat environment all the time. And well, if you're in charge, you get to do that. And you know, I've been in companies where the leader wasn't that,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage is it all falls on you. The disadvantage
Yeah.
is you're ultimately responsible for success or failure.
What qualities do you think a person should have to be in charge of a decision making in an organization?
Problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
That's like honestly, that's there's never a. I don't think there's ever an impossibility, right? It's like, oh, we can't do this. No, I don't ever think like that. It's like, how can we do this? You have to have that idea. That's number one, and I think number two is just people and leadership skills.
Could you share with us an experience in which the use of communication was extremely important?
I probably can't think of a time where it wasn't. Right? So, um, well, I think probably the biggest in my field, the biggest time where communication is important is because we're mostly in the creative space. And so until we try something, there is never a right or wrong because you never really know, right? You never really know. And if an advertisement is going to be successful until you try it. Like you might have ideas, you know, might have past successes and you might have a formula, but for whatever reason, that particular campaign might flop. And so the biggest time for me when communication is important is in when somebody's doing something creative and I feel like it's not good. So then
Yeah.
having to tell that person who maybe put a lot of heart and effort into it in a very
Mhm.
nice way, because creative people are also very sensitive. So if you tell them that their art sucks,
Yeah,
that
can be a very bad.
and sometimes it does suck, and you have to
Mhm.
tell them. And it also depends. Like that's where knowing people and makes a difference because some people you might be able to say, "Hey man, this sucks. Should we do something else?" And some people you might have to be really, really soft and say, "Hey, I appreciate that you tried really hard. I see you put a lot of time into this, and it's a really great idea. I see where you're going. Are there any other options that we can try?"
Yeah. Interests and objectives do you have in mind for your company in a period of 5 years? What aspects of it would you like to innovate or in the future?
More of the same, really. Just to continue to grow, and it really what I really like is a small business that wants to go national, franchise, go big, and so I would like to have more of those success stories, both
Mhm.
because it makes, I mean, it means you're doing a job well done, but it's also kind of a source of pride for me when I can say, hey, I was with that company since the first location.
Thank you very much for your time, Steve. My team and I are very glad that you have helped us in this assignment, and we thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.